Hello everyone, welcome back to the Money Show Traders Expo in Las Vegas. I'm your host Mark Leibovit from VRTrader.com. I've had the privilege of interviewing a lot of interesting guests here during the day here on Facebook, and many of these interviews are going to be archived at the Money Show Traders Expo website. And by the way, if you're in Vegas, this show is going on through Saturday, and there's a lot of great guests here, a lot of exhibitors, so please stop by at Bally's Paris because it is free and you might as well take advantage of all the great information. And speaking of great information, we have a very special guest with us now, an old friend of mine, Jack Crooks from Black Swan Capital, who is kind enough to stop by and talk a little bit about what he does. Jack, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Jack is a currency expert, and I've known Jack for a number of years on other programs, and he does some great research there. So let's talk about Black Swan Capital and about how our listeners can benefit from listening to Jack Crooks.
Okay. Well, at Black Swan, we try and just help our subscribers. We have a newsletter, kind of get a feel and a pulse of the currency markets. We talk about global macro things, global macro setups, and we also break it down to short-term trading, longer-term trading ideas in the spot Forex, foreign exchange markets. We cover all the major currency pairs, the euro, the yen, British pound, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, and we just do a whole host of analysis, whether allow them to take our trade suggestions or work off that research, to validate or invalidate their own research ideas.
So what are the tools that Jack Crooks uses to make these decisions? What's your universe of indicators?
We really just have three, I guess you could say, in terms of buckets, without getting too specific. We look at a global macro view and just get a feel, a market view, what the market's expecting on a global scale. We look at interest rates and economic growth together for each of the major countries that we evaluate, and just get a look at the spreads between interest rates of the different competing currencies, because interest rates are really the key factor in the intermediate term. But we also use the Elliott Wave analysis. We apply Elliott Wave for our particular.
So that's a big technical tool.
Exactly.
Okay. There's a lot of interest now with our listeners. What's going on with the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, and so forth? Do you have some insights that you're willing to share? Where is the Canadian dollar in a new bear market? Is the U.S. dollar in a new bull market?
Well, it is really a tough call in here. See what the reaction is to the new tax package. See how far interest rates go in the U.S. But at the moment, it looks like over the next couple of weeks we could see or possibly longer, a strong U.S. dollar. Ultimately, I think the Canadian dollar is undervalued in here. Still seems to be correcting after a big, very big move. But ultimately, I think Canadian dollar is going to go a lot higher against the U.S. dollar once this current run in the dollar is over. I don't know if that's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, but longer term, we like the Canadian dollar.
Many feel that it's just a technical bounce in the U.S. dollar and right back down again, but many are pushing for a strong dollar. They feel like that's what we need, supposedly, but we all both know that the U.S. economy, at least unless I got my economics messed up in the past, has done best with a weak U.S. dollar.
Yeah, that is true. That's exactly true. And the fact that Trump selected a known quantity and a dove in, Fed and the new Fed Chairman Jerome Powell indicates he loves low interest rates, and low interest rates tend to not support the dollar.
That's interesting. We're going to talk more with Jack Crooks after the break, so don't touch your dial. We'll be right back here at the Traders Expo in Las Vegas.